Şimdi bir önceki bölümde büyücüyü yendik. İlk etapta rahatlıkla kestik. Şimdi bakalım. Ork sürüsü de uzaklaştı. Bizden tabi ork sürüsüyle birlikte peşimize takıldığı için bir nebze onları uzaklaştırdık kendimizden. Şimdi bize verilen görev yerine gidelim. Devin ölümü mağarası.
You've been traveling through the desert for days. The sand is simply everywhere. In your shoes, under your clothes, in your mouths. Even the makeshift cloths that you've wrapped around your heads is of little help.
Yani çok da aydınlatıcı bir bilgi değildi.
With the last of the energy you can muster, you finally leave the 40-mile wide sandbar that separated you from Ogre's death. It is as if you've passed through an invisible wall when the raging
Ulaşılması güç
wind
bir yer
and
yapmışlar
sand
ki
suddenly falls
bu tür
silent.
anlarda
In front of
saklanabilsinler.
you, an enormous massive towers into the sky, the Blue Range. The slopes cast long shadows over Ogre's Death Fortress, which nestles in the spurs of the mountain. Even from this distance it looks impressive, with its 4 defensive terraces, one above the other.
Hatta
The anticipation of entering a real dwarven city for the first time grows with every step, and you feel the power returning to your limbs. You've almost done it.
bir başarım kazandık. Ogre's Death Fortress. Ogre'nin ölü kalesi. Etkileyici bir giriş.
My High King, you have called me to succeed you to the throne. Here I stand before you.
Well, before you are chosen as the successor to the High King, hear, King Gandagar, the challenges that await you. Hordes of orcs are rampaging through the north and the west, and the perished land is stirring. It would seem that the Magi cannot sustain the barriers.
This gives us an excellent opportunity to attack the last elves in Alandur. They are weakened. The perished land afflicts them. Let us wipe out the traitors once and for all.
Yes, right, exactly.
Kabul etmeyecek.
Hear, hear.
Madness. What are you talking about?
I do not recognize you,
Dedim.
King Gandagar, in what you are saying. The elves are inhabitants of Girdlegard. Has your hatred for them clouded your senses to the point that you wish to ignore the words of our god?
Belendelin's gaze falls, as if incidentally, on the king of the Fourthlings' advisor.
Or is someone giving you bad advice?
On the contrary, it was Bislipper who finally supplied me with the proof. A report titled How the Fiflings Lost the Gate. It was the elves that poisoned the brave Fifling warriors in their stronghold. A devious disease spread by the pointy ears in the shafts of the Grey Range.
Impossible! I always knew it!
Treason! I don't believe
They should
that.
pay for it!
To the pointy ears!
Enough! Don't be so short-sighted! We are talking about the
Konuş
safety
kral.
of Girdlegard. We must reach out and forge a large coalition with the elves. Yes, and even with the Thirdlings, if we are to defeat the perished land.
My High King, you cannot be serious.
Drivel from a dwarf who has grown too old in his post. Are we not here to choose a new High King? We have waited long enough.
Beyin yıkayıcı. Ben de mi varis adayım bilemedim
Would
ki.
seem you will have to wait a little bit longer. The second aspirant has
Evet.
arrived. Our guests must be tired from their long journey. The
Kesin ben
meeting is
seçeceğim değil mi
adjourned till
krallığı?
tomorrow.
Bakalım nasıl bir akış olacak. Ben seçildikten sonra şu anki mevcut aday da birinci varis de kesin bana düşman olacak. İç savaş söz konusu şu anda. Yanındaki beyin yıkayıcıyla bırakmaz benim peşimi. Bunlar burada takılıyor. En uzaklardan kim o? Kral mı?
But why do you think that I...
Everything will become clear. I've had a room prepared for you. Before you take to your bed,
Sen kimsin
please pay
ki?
the High King and I a visit in the throne.
Danışman herhalde. Sağ kolu falan kralın. Üf, kapıya bak. Yani kapının ayağı etmiyor. Ama 20 metre uzunluğunda bir kapı. Buralarda kamerayı hareket ettiremiyoruz. Gizlerle konuşalım.
Ah, Your Highness.
Daha demin orada neler gördün bana anlatır mısın? Ulu Kral Gundrabur pek de sağlıklı gözükmüyor. Devin ölümü kalesi buraya gözlerimle görebileceğim aklıma gelmezdi.
Heir apparent? What do you know? Spit it out.
A slight expression of guilt flits briefly across Boindill's face, but he's soon back to his old self.
A scholar as I King has something to it. You certainly have
Teşekkürler
almost,
oyların
that's for
için.
sure.
Boindall nods in agreement.
As High King, you could unite the kingdoms and get them to do battle against Nod-On.
You look at your friends and aren't really sure whether they are trying to pull your leg or not.
I can't be High King. I got all my knowledge from books and you're pulling my leg, right?
The twins' grins grow ever wider, and it would seem they can hardly contain themselves.
Just talk to High King Gundrabur and
Valendin'miş o yanımıza gelen.
They will explain everything.
Üçüncüden gidelim.
For
En
the
son
first
ikinciyi
time you have the
sorarız.
chance to appreciate the beauty of the place. You suddenly forget what you wanted to say.
I've never seen such masterful masonry. To be honest, I didn't even know that stone could be worked in such a way.
Ha ha ha! The secondlings are the best masons of all the kingdoms. That's how Fracas made us. Well, he made some of us into warriors too.
Boindall glances at his brother, and he laughs with satisfaction while looking around the hall himself.
Şimdi sağlık durumunu öğrenelim.
High King Gundrabur seems... well...
Old? He is ancient. Even by Dwarvish standards. He has been old for as long as I can remember.
Belendalin has taken care of most matters for dozens of cycles. But Gundrabur always has the final word. His mind is younger than all of ours, I tell ya.
Belendalin should become High King. I was there when a runt took his arm. He still managed to kill half a dozen of them afterwards. What fighting spirit! We had to drag him off the battlefield.
The law requires that a firstling or a fourthling must be chosen as the new king of all dwarves. And, as the firstlings didn't turn up...
I think I'll continue to look around.
Don't get lost. And tonight we will finally
Siyah
drink a
bırakın. Ha,
lovely
ben de
dark ale
siyah
on the
bırakın.
glowing anvil.
Anladım. Dedim kim bu siyah bırakan? Gidelim konuşalım. Tatlı odasına girelim artık. Bizi neler bekliyormuş bu sohbette.
Tungdil, come closer.
The power that the old High King radiated when he called the assembly to order has drained away from him. His body is sunken in the throne, but his eyes are alert and interested as he looks at you.
The lost son returns to his people. Thank Vracus. Tell us what
Anlatalım
you
hepsini
learned
tek
on your
tek.
journey.
You describe your adventure down to the smallest detail. Neither the king nor his advisor interrupts you. From time to time they nod, as though they were already aware of certain facts. Their brows become more furrowed with every passing minute. When you are finished with your story, you
60
also
ya,
have some
yok 90
questions.
günlük hikaye anlattık. İkincisi çok önemli değil. İlkini önce soralım.
What game is being played here?
Gandagar, as king of the fourthlings, is to supersede me as High King, but his mind is poisoned with hatred towards the elves. He would probably win a war against them, but he would weaken
doğru.
us, and Girdlegard would not be helped by this. I was hoping for a great coalition with the elves, and even with the thirdlings. I would have given anything to start the negotiations. In times of great need, only the common goal can count.
And which role have you planned for me?
Well, with you as a second aspirant, certain possibilities of protocol open up to us.
Nedir o? Gandogar harflerden neden bu kadar? İlkinden gidelim.
I don't want to appear ungrateful, and I'm happy to finally be among my people, but I will not ascend the throne. I hardly know anything about our customs and laws. Everything that I know, I have learned from books that
Demek ki
Yonan
yokmuş.
gave me. There
İnat
must be
etme
more
sen de
simple
işte bir
layers
kral
than me.
olalım. Bir ordu savaşımız var orklara karşı.
But to be honest, you never had a claim. To stop Gandagar, we had to stall
tuzakmış
for
yani.
time.
Kandırıldık.
Yonan helped us with our little story. We don't even know if you are a fourthling.
The king's advisor misinterprets your unbelieving gaze and quickly adds,
We're only being as deceitful as goblins for one solitary reason. To stave off possible harm to our people.
At yalanın yanına.
You feel as though you've been hit in the stomach. If this is true, not only have you lost your newly found kingdom, but Master Lot Yonan also didn't see it as necessary
Ben
to
neciyim bu hikayede?
inaugurate you in the conspiracy.
Gandogar'dan gidelim.
Why is Gandagar so full of hatred towards the elves?
His father and brother were murdered by elves. At least that's
Her
what's
şey iddia
claimed.
ediliyor. Hiçbir şeyin kanıtı
No
yok.
one knows the truth. Just as no one knows how true this report about the fiflings is. But isn't it strange that this letter has turned up now, just when it can play into the hands of the elf haters? Many dwarves' hatred towards the elves is great. Perhaps even greater than their honesty.
Ya önce ilkinden gidelim. Niye direkt Gandogar'ı suçluyoruz? Biz de kral adayı değiliz ki, yani rakibimizi küçümseyelim.
Your plan has a flaw. Even if I were to light up,
Bu doğru. Kimse oy vermez bana.
no one on the council will vote for me.
You don't have to win.
Belendalin points to the Steelies in the throne room.
It's written in our laws that the High King can oppose an heir if he isn't elected
Ha,
unanimously.
kapışma
He can
birebir.
then demand a duel or a contest in order to determine the winner.
Such a contest could take weeks, if not months.
Orklar ne
and
yapacak
it
bu
would win
sürede?
us some time.
Yağmalamaya devam.
What kind of contest would you have us compete in? Gandagar is surely superior to me in many things.
Everyone in the council will write a task on a piece of paper, and from them, the contest will be drawn.
And this only once you have made a speech and have won over as many as possible in the council to your side. The more sympathetic the council is towards
Konuşma
you,
yapacak son kişiyiz.
the higher the chances of a contest that fits your abilities.
Speech? You're beginning to like this whole thing less and less.
Is this really the best for our people? If you cannot dissuade Gandagar from carrying out his plans,
Bu da doğru. İyi yerden vurdu. Kralın umrunda değil. Gidici adam ya. Çok takmıyor şu anda yaşananları.
Recognize the malice of his feigned friend. We just need time, and you must gain it for us.
Var mıyız yok muyuz? Var mıyız yok muyuz? Yani ben krallık taraftarı olmasından yanayım. Hem de ek hikayeler çıkar. Güzel bir akış olur. Ama bunu seçersem emin olamadım. Neyse, krallık için yarışalım.
all right then.
Hiç
I'm
daha
ready to
önceki
do it.
oyunlarda kral
But I will
olmamıştım.
need all of your support.
You can be certain of it, Tungdil.
Bir cüce kral
Belendalin
nasıl olur
smiles at you
bilmiyorum.
encouragingly.
Öğrenmek.
You say
Güzel olur.
Andakai may have found a way to defeat Nodon, and she suspects that the Magus is possessed by a demon from the outer lands. It may be possible to kill this demon with an axe called
Keskin
Keenfire.
ateşte bulacağız. Buna geri mi döndük? Seçim verdi. Ya evet ya hayır. Evet dedik. Şimdi hikayenin eee Gandogar kısmına gelelim.
I
Oradan biraz
understand why
vuralım.
you want to
Kralı
prevent a
kendimize
High King
çekelim.
Gandagar. He will be blind to our real problems.
Gandagar's only liability is that he lets Bislipper whisper dark thoughts in his ear. The advisor is the problem, not the king.
A problem that I am fortunate enough not to have.
The High King smiles weakly at his advisor.
Gandagar is a good dwarf and a good king, and I am certain he
Yani
could
ben kral
also be a
olmayacak mıyım?
good
Hala bunu
high king
anlamadım.
if he was
Yani
free
şu
of
anda amaç
Bislipper's
yanındaki
lies and
danışmanı yok
false
etmek.
advice. I have commissioned armor that is worthy of a prince. It
Bunu
will be delivered to
gerçekleştirdiğiniz
your
anda
chamber
tatlı
by
elimden alacaklar.
sunrise.
Savaşı
You say goodbye
kazandıracağım.
with a queasy
Orkları
feeling in your
temizleyeceğim.
stomach. You always thought that you were articulate.
Nondal'ı
But the prospect of
öldüreceğiz.
having to make a speech in
Sintoras'ı
front of a large
öldüreceğiz.
council doesn't exactly fill you with
Sonra
emotion.
geleceğiz. Garnogal alacak krallığı benden. Anladım abi.
The coal fire is lit when the kingdoms meet for council. It has lain dormant much too long, until it was finally lit again a few days ago.
Gerçekten kullanılıyorum şu anda. Peki oyun. Umarım ödüllendirecek bir anım olur.
Ah, Tungdil! What
Sahte
is it?
Kral oldum.
The High King and his advisor don't know where I come from either. But they only want to use me to delay Gandagar's coronation and ultimately prevent war with the elves.
Whatever happens, we
Valla
will
bunlar
stand
da olmasa
by your
işimiz
side,
yaş.
scholar.
You're not sure whether the moral support of your friends will be much use in a contest with Gandagar, but it feels good not having
Evet.
to go through the whole
İlki
thing
çok doğru,
on your
ikincisi de
own.
çok doğru.
I think I'll continue to look
Bakalım
around.
etrafa.
Don't get lost. And tonight, we will finally
Tamam,
drink
anladık. Kızgın Örste bira içeceğiz. Anladık. Aşağı inebiliyor muyum? Uçurumdan aşağı mı bak? Bakayım. Nereden bakacak?
You can't see the bottom. When the secondlings named the Blue Range their home, there was nothing here but hard rock and a few small caves.
Bayağı derin kazmışlar.
Fantastic.
Fantastik hakikaten ha. Bu ne? Ha, gidemiyoruz buraya. Soldan gidelim. Yatak odamı bulayım. Artık Boğaz 5'e mi çıktı? Hadi. Tatlı odasına geri mi girdim? Ben buraya başka bir yer sandım. Öyle bir döndürdü ki kamerayı. Yolumu bulmak mümkün olmadı. Şuraya gideceğiz. Başka yol yok. Kabul salonuna gelelim. Kimler varmış orada? Hikaye geldi. Ha,
Antikay, what
Andokay.
is it?
I came to return these books to you, Tungdil. Luckily, I was able to make sense of most of it.
You observed how the Mager took time to study the books during your
Korkuyorum bu
escape.
büyücüden.
They are records from the Outer Lands. They tell of demonic beings from barren ground who can take possession of humans and invest them with great power.
Immortality, for example?
The Mager nods seriously.
They speak of an axe forged by the Undergrounders called Keenfire. It is said to have the power to cut through the flesh and bone of the living and completely destroy the demonic
Gidelim bulalım
spirit
o
deep
keskin
within their soul.
ateşi. Nudi'nin bir iradesini bir iblisini ele geçirir mi düşünüyorsun? Ha, ikinciyi soralım önce.
You know these Undergrounders.
I have never heard of the Undergrounders, but I've been to the Outer Lands before.
It must be terrible. The hordes of Tion have marched from there against our strongholds for thousands of years.
It's not as bad as you think. It is certainly safer than a land in which a magus possessed by a demon is on the loose.
Nudin ele geçirildi.
So you think a demon from the Outer Lands has taken possession of Nudin?
He looked very different when I encountered him in Parista, and he rose from the dead even though you cut off his head. That can't be explained purely through the power of the perished land.
And he wanted to prevent these books from falling into our hands. That would only make sense if Keenfire had the power to defeat him. Where is this Keenfire?
Neredeymiş?
I don't know if this weapon was ever forged. It requires rare materials and masterful craftsmanship. The purest, hardest steel, stone barbs decorated with runes, a hilt of Sigardazy wood, inlays made of all the noble metals, the blades studded with diamonds, smithed in the hottest forge.
We are dwarves. We have the most talented craftsmen.
And you have the Sigardazy wood. It is amongst the objects in your rucksack, which is fortunate as there are no more Sigardazys in Girdlegard. But even if you managed to forge the axe, it might all be just a fairy tale. It's too little to wager our lives on.
Başka şansımız mı var? Yani tek şansımız.
We can get all the missing materials as well as a gem cutter here in the stronghold. After all, Gandagar and his fourthlings are here. A stonemason from the secondlings, and I can smith.
The Mager looks at you thoughtfully, and for a short time it seems as though your enthusiasm is rubbing off on her. But then she says,
I wish you good luck, Tungdil.
You still want to leave Girdlegard, but what will happen to your realm and all
Umurumda
the
değil
other
ki.
realms?
I admire your optimism, my friend, but it isn't wise to stand in the way of a rolling stone. I don't wish to give up my realm, but I would only be prolonging the suffering
Gitsin
unnecessarily.
zaten 2 tane boğaz.
you don't want to let the last
Bunu
Mager in
düşünemem yani.
Girdlegard
Yol
go.
boyu 5 yiyoruz.
Unfortunately,
Kaçsın
you
gitsin.
can't think of anything that
Artist.
could cause her to stay.
Many thanks,
Şerefli mi?
Honorable Mager, for all that you have done.
Bakış açısına göre değişir. Partiden ayrıldı, çok iyi oldu. Mantar ve peynir tavandan biraz karnımızı doyuralım.
A variety of cheeses, pickled cave mushrooms, toasted vault moss, and some smoked sausage. Mmm.
The intense
Doyur
smell
karnını.
of the cheese makes your mouth begin to water.
Uyuyalım artık ya. Sabah olunca düşünürüz.
You are looking forward to the first proper bed for weeks.
Yok, uzan.
You undress and lie
Uykumuzu alalım
down.
artık.
Before
Çok
you know
yorulduk.
it, your eyes close and you fall asleep.
Bakalım sabah olunca bizi neler bekliyormuş.
When your new armor is brought to you the next morning, you can hardly believe your eyes. However, as a smith, you can't stand the fact that you haven't contributed anything to it and decide to add
Kendi
some
sanatımızı da
inlays.
ekledik. Başarılı. Geldik büyücü.
Even one who wears the armor
Eşek
of a
yine
prince
eşektir ha.
can still be a farrier underneath it.
Kim bu?
Don't you
Bolafar.
think, Tungdil?
Bolofar ben mi? Laf mı etti lan o bana Bolofar diyerek? Cüce lafı. Cüce küfrü. Yılan da yılandır. Üstündeki pullar da onu güzel yapmaz değil mi?
Just like a snake in elegant clothing is still a snake.
Ignoring your question, Bisleyper eyes you very exactly before he speaks.
So, you want to be one of our kingdom? A foundling brought up by a wizard? One wouldn't think it possible. And I don't think it possible
Şöyle
either.
kafasına kılıcı
There is
geçirsem
no
mükemmel
proof
olacak
of your
ha.
origin, and Gandagar's the council on his side. Why don't you spare yourself the disgrace and just not turn up in front of the council? Put your scheme to bed, and we will take you into our kingdom. We will give you everything you need your whole life long.
Var mı böyle bir
In
seçenek?
exchange, you support Gandagard instead of challenging him.
Kanıt derken elçiler yönelik iftiralarla dolu o mektup gibi mi? Yalnızca yapacağım konuşmayı bekle. Önerini kabul etmezsem ne olur? Bu korktuğumuzu belli eder. Hiç gerek yok. Etkiye tepki. Ama biz harflerle dolu mektuptan girelim.
Proof? Oh, you mean like your letter that has been found after 1,000 cycles and makes the elves responsible for the fall of the fifthlings?
It is no secret that the elves are deceitful. And what could possibly be more suited to get
Biraz
one
ağzından
over
bilgi
us
alalım ki
than
konuşmada
letting the
kullanırız bu
perished land
söylediklerini.
in and presenting us as the scapegoat.
The elves have been displaced by the perished land and are now almost eradicated.
I said they are deceitful, not wise.
Üçüncüden, ikinciden devam edelim.
And what if I don't withdraw my candidacy?
You wish to stand against your own king? A stray dwarf offending a deserving leader such as Gandagar through his claim? No one in the Brown Range will like that.
Kim yabancı
Prepare
gibi
yourself
yaşayacak,
for life as
göreceğiz
an
hep birlikte.
outsider among the Fourthlings.
Yapacağım konuşmayı bekle. Tipsiz.
Children of the Smith cannot be silenced.
You are a dwarf, I confess, but no Fourthling can remember a dwarf child ever going missing.
And you know thousands of the Fourthlings personally, and know exactly where they live in the mountains, what they're planning, or what small tragedies take place in their lives?
You have a sense that all the long evenings in the library and debating with Lot Yonan weren't for nothing, as Bislipper struggles for a reply, then lets it go. You have had enough of this dwarf. He makes you feel uneasy, or
İntikam
worse
duygusuna
still.
kapıldık değil mi?
Get out!
A humanized bastard will not issue me orders. Know your place, false
Sensin lan
dwarf.
çakma cüce. Krallığınızı kurtaracak olan tek kişi benim. Ne o? Ha. Aa. Su topladı elimiz. Bu da mı ruh hastalarından biri yoksa? Emin olamadım. Elimi yaktığına göre bunun da bence zihni ele geçirildi. Bakalım. Bu yaşadıklarımız daha sonraki bölümlere nasıl yansıyacak?